Welcome back students. We had been discussing about list in detail in the last lab and we had seen that lists are very useful and using list we can create the group of different elements of different data types, elements who are of elementary data structure, belongs to elementary data structure, complex data structure, user defined data structure. Everything can be coupled or grouped in the same data structure, and that can be called as list. So we had seen four basic functions with list and we are moving ahead a bit discussing list. The first function which we are going to discuss today is called concate function. So what we aim to do in concatenation, let us see with example. Suppose this is my first list and that contains 1, 2 and 3 values, and let us say this is my second list and that contains the value, let us say A, B and C, 3 values. Okay, or let us say 4 values. It is not necessary that all the lists should have the same size. Okay, it can have 2 values, it can have 5 values, any size of a list it can be. Let us say this is L1 and this is L2. What result we want to generate of concatenation? When concatenation is applied, the answer should be 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Okay, this is the answer that we are supposed to generate after concatenation. So how this concatenation should take place? Let us see manually and then we are going to write the code. So we all know that list cannot be accessed simultaneously. How many parameters our concate should have? First of all, we need to pass list 1. So list 1 need to be passed. We need to pass list 2 and the resultant list should be generated. Let us say it is list 3. Okay. Now what happens? Manually when you concate list 1 and list 2, it is always like list 1 will be in the beginning and then it is followed by entire list 2. So element by element you are going to copy it. So the first element of list 1, we all know that in the list only one element at a time is accessible, which is called head of the list. So in this case 1 is the element which is in the head of the list. So that should be copied first of all in the resultant list. Let us say this is L3. So in L3 the head element of L3 should be same as head element of list 1. It is very necessary. Then what should happen? The remaining, that is tail of what? L1. It should be recursively passed to which function? Concate. Okay. So in the next call, what should be passing? Initially what happened? Concate will be called like L1, or let us say L1 should be written like head and tail L2, L3. Okay. Then next call. Next what is going to happen? This L3. Now what L3 result will be generated, and result H will be copied as it is, and let us say tail is nothing but L3. Let us call this L1. Instead of tail, let us call it L1 to make it very clear. So what will happen over here? This is L1. L1 contains 2 and 3. Head is 1. This is L2, and this entirely we are going to call as L3, which we have to generate. So how we are going to, initially L3 is empty. So what we intend to do, H should be copied directly over here. What will happen in next call? Concate should be called with H is copied, so L1 should be passed. So L1 will be passed, L2 should be passed, and see, mind well, what you require, 1 should always be in head. Hence, the next element that is head of L1 should be copied where? In the head of this remaining list, that is nothing but L3 over here. So what we are going to pass over here? L3. Are you getting what I'm trying to say over here? Yes, what we are doing over here, this 1 should always be head. So entire list we are not going to pass. H is as it is in the head. Only the tail, that is L3, we are going to pass over here. So what will happen now? The L1, L2 and L3. Now once again the call will be made. So it will go over here, and what will happen? The head element will be copied. Head element will be copied in this resultant list. So 2 will be copied over here, and the remaining will be called L3. So in next call, what you are going to pass? In next call, again you are going to pass L1, L2, L3, where L1 is going to be 3 only. This L1 will be only 3. The L2 will be A, B, C. And L3 will now contain 1, 2. Sorry, L3 will be yes, it will be empty, and the head element earlier are going to be 1, 2, after which you are going to have this tail that is empty list right now. So once again when the call will be made, what is going to happen? Once again it will go to the main function, and what is going to happen? This element 3 is going to be copied to L3, head of L3. Once again, see, I am not touching the earlierly added elements over here, that is 1 and 2, but these element, next element is going to be added as the head of tail. This is very important, otherwise you will confuse between concat and reverse function. That's why I'm explaining it again and again. Okay, what you are doing, you are adding element in the head of tail, not head of entire list, otherwise it will be reverse. So what will happen now? Concat, in this case the 3, that is head element, will be copied now. So what will happen now? L1 will contain empty list, L2 will be as it is, and L3 will contain 1, 2, 3, and then tail, which contains nothing right now, that you need to copy further. Okay, so that is the next call. Now see, this is terminating condition. Whenever you reach this condition, what you have to do? L1 has no element to be copied. In that case, the entire L2 should be copied over here in L3. Entire L2 should be copied over here in L3. Are you getting this? Yes or no? So entire element should have been copied in the list that you require. So how we are going to write the code for concat after understanding this? Let us see that. So what is terminating condition? Terminating condition is when L1 is empty. So concat has, first of all we'll write terminating condition, that if it is empty, then the entire list, whatever you have, should be returned to tail as it is in the resultant list. That's it. Are you getting this, what we have done? If this is empty, then what should be the result? You are going to pass over here the entire L2, because see, this is already there. So what should be the answering resultant list? It should be L2 itself. Imagine you want to concat the list, empty list and L2, this L list. What is going to be answer over here? Suppose this contains 1 and 2. Answer will be 1 and 2 only. So whenever the first list is empty, the second list as it is will be answered in the answer of concatenation. That's what we are saying over here. But if it is not the case, then concat may have elements like, so the first element, let us say, is the explicit element, head element, and the next is, let us say, L1, that is going to be tail. The second list is L2 as it is, and the third list, see, whenever we are copying the head element to the next list, the head element of L1 is going to be head element of the resultant list also. What is that resultant list? Let us say that the tail of the resultant list is called L3. So this is what we are generating in the rule. Let me repeat what you are doing in the rule. If you won't do this, it will be reverse. What you are making sure over here, whatever is the first element of first list is going to be first element of the resultant list also. That is what actually concatenation is, so that the elements will be recursively added in sequence, otherwise it will make list reverse. So what you are going to do now, concat is going to be called, see, first element is copied, so next what you need to pass? The remaining element, that is L1. L1 will be passed. Now L2 is entirely remaining, so L2 will be passed, and where it is going to be copied next? In L3, because this is fixed. So L3, that's it, simple. We have finished writing the code of concatenation. Are you getting this? So this is how you can write down the code for concatenation. What is very important over here? Important thing is understanding this, that the head element of L1, first list, is head element of the resultant list as well. And what you are doing is the remaining, that is tail, will be passed. The entire second list is passed, and from this remaining list, the first element will be copied as head element of this remaining list, that is tail of the result. Okay, now this is how concatenation works, and we have even dry run. Now let us see what happens in case of reverse. Let me explain what happens in case of reverse. Suppose you have a list 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my list, and I want to have a reverse of this. Okay, so you need to write a rule which will get the reverse of it. So how you are going to reverse? Let us imagine you have one empty list available over here. Okay, now what you are going to do over here for getting it reversed? So whatever is the first element, let us say whatever first element you have over here, you are going to add that element over here in the list. Okay, so initially the list you are passing over here is the first list, empty list, and this is the resultant list which is going to be generated. Okay, so let us say this is your head and this is your tail. So what you are going to do now, this head is going to be added over here. So let us say head is added over here. Now I am not adding a head in the head like this, like we did over here. Here, this is making sure you are adding in the head. I am not doing that. I am just adding it to the list. Okay, now what I will do, I will recursively pass this tail, this list, and this resultant list. So again head element 2 that I am going to add over here in this list. So it will be added as the head of the list. Okay, the next element again head of the list, next element head of the list. So that way you will have the reverse. And when this entire list will be empty, at that time the list which I have as the second argument I am going to copy over here. So it will be 4 3 2 1. Are you getting this? Let me write the code so it will be more clear to you. So what we are going to do over here in list reverse, let us say it will have 3 parameters. What 3 parameters it is going to have? We will be writing this condition. What will be terminating condition? When the first list is empty, then the reversed list will be as it is written over here in the reversed list, resultant list. Okay, but if it is not true, then what will happen? List reverse that will contain 2 elements. Let us say the first list is, okay, it contains head and tail, and then the second list, let us call it list 2, and the last list, let us call it resultant list. Then how we are going to generate that, how recursive call will take place? This head, see, I haven't added that it over here, even though I want to add that in the second list. Like this, what we did, the head element was added over here to make sure this head element is the head element of resultant list. But what we require now, every time a head element will be extracted, that should be the head element here. Means the last element should be the entirely head element. It should be reversed, and hence we are not having over here h oblique L2, but we will do it over here. So what we will do in recursive call, L reverse, what I am going to pass as the remaining list over here, that is tail. So tail will be passed over here. Now what I will do, this head element I will add over here in list 2. So what I will have over here, head is added in L2 and R will be as it is. Are you getting this? Yes or no? So what is happening over here? How it will run? See, in this list, this is H, this is T. Okay, and L2 is pass, which is initially empty, and this is also empty. So in first call, what will happen? T will contain 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now what you will do? H will be added in L2. So L2 will contain now 1, which is the only element and hence the head element. This R is still empty. Now the next call. In next call, what you are going to pass? Tail. Once again, tail of this. This is your head and this is the tail. Okay, so what you are going to pass now? 3, 4. And whatever was head over here, that should be added here. So what we'll do now? That head element will be now head element of this list. So what will happen? 2 and 1 here, and this is empty once again. In next call, what will happen? This is your head and this is tail. So 4 will be there and this head will be added over here. So 3, 2, 1. This is still empty. Now once again, this is head and tail is empty. So what you are going to do over here? 4, 3, 2, 1. This is empty list as tail. So once this list is empty, this entire list will be copied in the resultant list 4, 3, 2, 1. Are you getting this? So what is difference between this and this? To make sure that head element of first list is head element of the last list, the head element is copied in the head itself. But to reverse the list, what you are doing, the head element of the first list will be added in the body, not here in the head. Now see, this is how you have done this code with the help of 3 parameter. But when you want to reverse, the parameter should be like pass one list and get the second as the result. So if you want to rewrite this, this can be rewritten as list, let us say reverse. Now we want only 2 parameters. So I may write it like I will be passing one list and I will get the result. Okay. Now where I am going to call this, at that time I am going to call this. See, these and these 2 names are different. Okay. This is the predicate which is going to take 2 parameters only, and this is the predicate which has 3 parameters. Okay. So how I am going to, what I am going to do, I am going to call this. So list reverse. This is my base list. The second list which I am going to pass is empty list, and this is the result which I am going to get. That's it. See, now we are sorted. So what will happen if you have to execute? You can execute like list reverse. Let us say A, B, C. That is your argument. You are passing an let us say X as the second argument, full stop. So what you are going to get as answer? C, B, A. That's it. Are you getting this? So this is, see, compare these 2 codes once again as we have discussed. If you want concatenation, then head should be added to the resultant list right away in the body of the, in the head of the rule. But if you want string reverse, then the head element will not be added over here, but head element is going to be added in the body. So what will happen? In every iteration the head is different. So the first iteration's head will be now in body, and second iteration's head will be head. The third iteration's head will be head, and the final element will be the head for the final list. That way you are going to get the concatenate string reverse over here. So please have dry run and understand this concept of string reverse list reverse very properly, because these both have been asked many times in GTU question papers. Now we are going to discuss about concatenation of the list. So let us discuss list concatenation. We are going to discuss about sublist. Okay, so let us discuss sublist now. So what is a sublist? Let us say first of all. So let us say this is my list. Let me call this list as list 1. Now it contains X. Let us say it contains X and Y. It is part of X and it contains Y also. So X and Y together are making this list L1. Okay. Now Y, let us observe that Y itself is subdivided into two parts. So this Y is subdivided into two parts. First part I will call as L, and the second part I will call LL. Are you getting this? So you can see a list like it is part of X and Y, and that Y is subdivided into L and LL. Okay. Now if I'll ask you a question that whether L is sublist of L1, what will be your answer? Yes, because L is there inside L1. So if you have to write down the function sublist, how you are going to write? See, sublist, what will be the parameters for sublist? Sublist will contain a sublist and it will contain a list for which you are checking it is sublist or not. Means I can check it like sublist, then I will pass, let us say 1, 2, and then I will check 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, if I'll check like this, it should give result true. Okay, so this is how we want to execute. But do you understand over here we can take the advantage of using concat function? Yes, you can use concat function over here. How you are going to use concat function over here? So to use concat function over here, sublist can be written like, let us first of all write concat and use sublist function over here. So what was the concat function we discussed? So if the first list is empty, then the second list whatever we have should be written as it is. Okay, and what will be the non-terminating condition of concat? The first element, the head element of the first list, okay, should be the head L2 will be as it is, but it should be the first element of the last list, resultant list also. And the remaining will be the concat call, and what we are going to pass L1, L2 and L3. So L1, L2 and L3 will be passed recursively. So this is what concat was doing. Now what we want to do next using the concat will be as it is. Using that concat we are going to write sublist. So sublist, let us say sublist 1. So sublist 1 will contain two parameter over here. Let us say L, that is the sublist that we want to check, which is inside our list and embedded inside our list. And L1 is the list, the entire list in which we are checking. Means this is L and this is L1 in which we are checking. Okay, so how we are going to call this? We can call it like, see this, you can imagine that what is actually L1? It is concatenation of X and Y. So concat X comma Y. Okay, if you concat X and Y, what you are going to get? Then you are going to get the entire list L1 comma. Now inside Y, what is the concatenation? It is like concat. If you concat L and LL, L comma LL, then what you are going to get is Y. So that is Y over here. Are you getting this? So concating X and Y will get you L1 and concating L and LL will get you Y. Full stop. Now this is capital. Please consider all the variables over here which I have used as capital. So how this sublist is going to work? See, sublist is not a recursive function. Sublist is using concat function and concat itself is a recursive function. So how this is working, as we have dry run over here, even if you are checking like 1, 2, it is in the beginning of the list, still this will work. Why? Because it is possible that X is empty. Okay. Similarly, if your sublist is at the end of the list, then also it will work considering Y is empty, or L can be anywhere inside also. So X and Y together are making L1 and L and LL together are making Y. That way sublist will work, and that sublist. So see, if in GTU there is a question like write down sublist function, they will give you parameters. If they don't give parameter, then also you should be able to write that. So when you have to write this sublist, what you have to do before writing sublist, you should be writing concate. Why? Because sublist itself is recursively calling concate function. That's it. Okay. So that is all about the functions which you are going to do today. Now using these functions, that is reverse list, you need to write one more as a homework. I am not going to discuss this. So what you have to do, you have to write down the predicate palindrome. So what it is going to do, it is going to check that given list, whatever list I'll pass, whether it is palindrome or not. If the list is palindrome, it will return true. If it is not, it will return false. Okay. So for checking the list is palindrome or not, what you have to do, you have to call string reverse, list reverse function, and you have to check that the list passed, if it is reversed, means original list and reverse list both are same or not. If both are same, then you should be returning true. If both are not same, then you should be returning false. So palindrome is the function which I'm not going to discuss, that you will have to write on your own. Okay, so that is all for today. Which all functions you will be you have to implement today. First of all, you have to implement concate. Okay, after concate, what you have to do is reverse. Okay, after doing reverse, what you have to do is sublist. Okay, and after sublist, what you have to do on your own, code I have not given, is palindrome. So these are the 4 functions which you have to implement in today's lab, and please make sure that like we did in all the explanations, you are going to dry run them first of all, understand the code line by line, and then only write. Though the code of every function is of maximum 3 lines, if you'll cram and write, it is definitely going to be wrong. So please don't cram, understand it properly and then write. In the next next lab we'll be discussing further, but as an assignment there are few more rules using list which have been asked many a times in GTU paper, but though I am not going to feed you all the code, so what I am going to do next is I'll be providing you the definition as assignment for the coming lab that you will have to implement on your own. So please perform these programs. If you have any query or doubt, then you can ask by whatever mode you are comfortable with. Thank you.